It's come to my attention that there's not that many fair skin makeup tutorials on YouTube. So let me show you how to do this makeup look. This would be really nice for any Christmas parties that you've got coming up to, because you've got that little bit of sparkle in the eyes. Starting off with the Loreal Lumi Glowtion all over as a base. I find that fair skin looks so much better when it's got a nice glow to it. Now take a concealer. This is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. You can apply that anywhere that you've got redness, and also under your eyes if you've got any dark circles, just to even all of the skin out. And a PC18 brush from Peaches and Cream just to blend everything out. And try to use patting motions if you can rather than swiping. This is going to keep the coverage where we want it to be. And honestly, less is more when it comes to fair skin, because product always shows up so much more on the skin. So try and start off with less, because we can always add a bit more later on. I'm now using a really sheer foundation. This is almost like a skin tint, but it does give a really lovely glow, and it will give a little bit of coverage, which is what we want, not too much. Now time for some cream bronzer, but I'm actually going to place this in a contour placement. Using a PC21 brush from Peaches and Cream again, we're taking the longer bristles, and I'm going to apply that along the hollows of the cheeks, on top of the forehead, under the jaw, and on the tip of the nose. When applying the product along your cheekbones, make sure to blend the product up and not down, because that can actually pull your face down. We want to look nice and lifted. I've also applied that to the eyelids, which is great for an eyeshadow base. On top of the lips too, which creates a shadow, so it actually gives the illusion of bigger lips. Time for my favourite part, the blush, because this is where we come back to life. Place the cream blush on the back of your hand just to warm it up, and then put your brush into the product. You want to place this on the apples of your cheeks, on top of the nose, and a little bit on the forehead. Now on to cream highlight. Get a little bit on your finger and pat it over the highest points of your cheekbones and above the arch of your eyebrow, top of the lip and tip of the nose. Now we're going to set all of that, so we're starting off with the under eyes. Tap a small amount of the powder into the lid. Dip your sponge in, but as you can see, it doesn't go onto the sponge evenly, so that's when we want to work it into the back of our hand to distribute the powder, to make sure when we put it on our face it doesn't go patchy. Also use your finger to tap out under the eye, get rid of any creasing that might have occurred whilst we've been doing the rest of our makeup, and set the tops of your eyelids too. Then with whatever's left on the sponge, I like to go around the T-zone. Then we're going to set the rest of the skin with a pressed powder. Patting this on all over. Now to finish our base, we're going to use some powdered blush. This is actually the NYX Buttermelt highlighter in New Butterwork, but it's so nice as a blush topper. Now moving on to eyes, you want to get a cool toned eyeshadow shade on a big fluffy eyeshadow brush, and you're going to apply that to the crease, just working in circular motions, going backwards and forwards, taking it quite high up so it's almost touching the brows. Now take a slightly smaller fluffy brush with another cool tone brown, and this is about 2 shades darker than the first one we used. These are both matte shades too, and what they're doing is just adding a bit of dimension to our eyes. You don't want it coming in any further than the pupil of your eye, because this is going to make your eyes look smaller. And for this look, we want to keep the lid nice and bright, because we're going to go in with a bit of shimmer afterwards. Now on a small dense brush, run the same darker eyeshadow underneath your lower lash line. Now we're actually going to use a really dark burgundy shade along the top lash line. You want to use this on a small flat eyeshadow brush, or you can use an angled eyeshadow brush too. Stamp that eyeshadow as close as you can to the top lash line. Wiggle back and forth to diffuse the line. Now time for the sparkle. We're using our finger to apply this just so we can get the most out of the glitter. This is going to make it look so much more intense. And all you need to do is pat this on over where we didn't put the darker eyeshadows earlier. Now let's curl our lashes. This makes the biggest difference ever. Don't skip this step, please. It'll make you look more awake. A little bit of mascara, so wiggle at the base of the lash, pull upwards. And you could leave it here, but I thought this look needs a bit of lash. I just added some individual eyelashes, and this was when my camera decided to stop recording, so that's great. But I'm showing you my lip combo here, so I actually used the same blush that we used on our cheeks earlier for the lipstick, and then I used this L'Oreal lip gloss over the top, and this is the makeup look all done. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll list all the makeup products used in the description below. Thank you for watching.